Hey, everybody, and welcome to my live stream review of Godzilla versus Kong, or Kong versus Godzilla, depending on who you're rooting for. And I am representing here today with the shirt, and let's talk this movie. Um, I absolutely loved King of the Monsters. I thought King of the Monsters was a fantastic film. I loved how Mike Dougherty built upon the mythos of the Titans and created this whole world and the story around a hollow earth theory, which is why we never saw them, how they could move around without crushing us or being observed, or, it was just a really brilliant take on the whole thing. So my hopes are very high for Godzilla versus Kong. I loved Adam Weingard's work with The Guest and You're Next. He's just got a really great sensibility about him. He's really smart. He's really a talented director. So my hopes are super high for this, especially after everybody saw the trailer and they saw that, like it had 1.5 million views in the first 24 hours of being up. So it was a very big deal. So when I got to watch the movie, I was in love with how they did Kong. Kong is just absolutely beautiful. He's his own character in this. The continuation of the story that was set up in Godzilla, King of the Monsters, was fairly seamless. But is it as good as Godzilla, King of the Monsters? I don't think so. It's not bad. It's not Godzilla bad. But it also has some problems. And those problems, not surprisingly, come from the human element of the story. And also the fact that the movie kind of just starts. Like there's no buildup. There's no kind of let's see where everybody is or anything like that. It just starts with Godzilla attacking people for no reason or for a reason we don't know yet. And it just starts like that. And that's a little confusing and erratic in how it begins with everything going on. Fala apparently has seen the film as well. And I love the final fight. I loved everything with the monsters. I loved everything with the Titans. I loved Godzilla. I loved Kong. I loved how Adam Weingard made this very 80s, which is a thing he does. I love the end jokes. There's a lot of Easter eggs in this. There's no surprise here when I tell you that Kong jumping off of the ship is an homage to Die Hard. It's got some amazing visuals, but where it breaks down is the human story part. See, and with King of the Monsters, I loved everything they did with Ken Watanabe, with, when they actually spent time, not a lot of time, because we're here to see these giant monsters fight. That's, come on, that's what we're here for. But I love how they actually built character and everybody had a character. You had a freaking Rick Sanchez clone in there. He was the funny guy that was a smart ass. And you had Kyle Chandler's character who was the heroic father who was just trying to save his daughter. And they list Kyle Chandler in this movie. Kyle Chandler is in this movie for all of maybe 3 minutes. Like literally Kyle Chandler is barely in this film. I love Alexander Skarsgård. Alexander Skarsgård is a great actor. He's beautiful to look at. He's an action man. He's just fantastic. His character is basically there just to stare at things, and at least he's not as bad as Godzilla #1 and Aaron Taylor Johnson, Mr. This is what I do the entire film. He's not that bad, but the human aspect of this really hurts the film. And because it doesn't have really any buildup or time with them, which you have to give at least some of that to the humans in the movie. And this just, it doesn't work, what they're doing. And I mean, even the Kong stuff, I love the Kong stuff, don't get me wrong. But the part that really just makes this movie slow down and just be annoying, like you just eat them or kill them already, are the parts with Millie Bobby Brown and with Brian Tyree Henry and Julian Dennison. There's two sections basically. You have those three doing their thing, which is sort of, I guess you would call them Team Godzilla, and then you have Team Kong, which is Alexander Skarsgård and Rebecca Hall, where they're bringing Kong to where they need him to be. And I do have to give props on that part of it in terms of story, because, I was thinking about this, and how do you have Godzilla versus Kong and have Kong stay on Skull Island? Because Skull Island isn't very big. It would be a very short film, and it would just be, there's no surprise of where they are. So the brilliant aspect of this movie is how they've figured out how to utilize Kong, take him away from Skull Island, and make it make sense. And that's not a spoiler. That's in the trailer. If you seen the trailer at all, which you probably did, because a lot of people did in the first day, that's a brilliant aspect of the film. But the Godzilla trio, which is what I'm just going to call them, is annoying. It's badly acted. It's supposed to be funny, but it's not. I was trying to figure out, were they trying to harken back to the sort of slapsticky young kid shtick from like Gamera movies and some of the Godzilla movies? Hey, JM Marks Radio 2021, how you? So I was trying to figure out if that was what they were going for with the two kids and the elder goofball of a security officer or authority figure. Maybe, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. It's just badly done. Julian Dennison, who I typically like, is just hey John, is just really horrible in this. I just really didn't like any of this part of it. It just felt tacked on. It felt annoying. In King of the Monsters, Millie Bobby Brown's character was more believable. In this, she's comes off as sort of, I don't know, like manic. So I wasn't really excited to see her. I think that it just felt tacked on. They made it where it needed to happen, and it's the stuff that happens with them is so just by chance as well, that it just isn't a interesting part of the film. I really did enjoy the stuff with Kong and the little girl. That is absolutely beautiful. That whole thing is gorgeous. It will make you cry. It made me cry. I knew this movie at some point would. I've interviewed Adam Weingart a couple of times about this film, and I really wanted to talk to him about the emotional impact that these monsters make on us. And what they did with Kong within this film is gut punch beautiful. It's so good. The Godzilla stuff, he's great. The fights are fantastic. They give him character. It's great to watch and see him take on Kong. That whole aspect of it is brilliant. But the human element in this movie drags it down, even to the point where, in King of the Monsters, you had Charles Dance being the main bad guy that was trying to, release the Titans, all of them. Should have been Liam Neeson, but you had Charles Dance, and even with that, him being pretty reserved and not on screen as much, it's still Charles Dance. He still carries weight. He is just a presence. But in this movie, the actor's name is Demian Bichir, probably butchering that, but his character is named Walter Simmons. And honestly, I couldn't have told you that after watching it. Like literally after watching the movie, if you had asked me, okay, who's the bad guy, I couldn't have told you. It was that forgettable and that lame. There was nothing interesting. Then on top of that, you have Shun Oguri as Rin Serizawa, and during this movie, I could not even tell you if they mentioned the fact that he was Ken Watanabe's son from the previous film. I couldn't have told you that. I don't even know if they mention it. I just know that's his character's name, but that's how much reference to that character you have. They are that throwaway. There's nothing to make you interested in them, which you have to have if you're going to have that element of if you want that human element to be interesting. Otherwise, we're just sitting here going, okay, when's the next fight? I mean, and it just wasn't there for this film, and that kind of sucks. Otherwise, it's a great film. Like, there are some amazing visuals. The special effects are great. The music is fantastic. I loved it. I love the Easter egg nods that are within the film. But the human element, the human story is non-existent. It just really is. Especially the Millie Bobby Brown Godzilla trio stuff is just horrible. It was painful in how it was acted and this forced comedy stuff that's in it. And I think maybe, as I said, maybe that was them trying to go back to the slapstick stuff from the old school Godzilla movies when you had little kids involved. But Millie Bobby Brown isn't a little kid. She's a teenager, and Julian Dennison is a teenager, and his shtick in this is amped up to 11 in terms of, I'm the whiny, scaredy, smart-ass kid. It is ramped up to 11, and you will want to punch him in the face. Sorry, it's true. It just is annoying. But the rest of the film is fantastic. It is just a visual feast. And as I said, I'd interviewed Adam Weingard a couple of times for this film. And one of the times that I talked to him, I'd asked him, what would you do if you came back to do a second one of these? Because as we've seen, the MonsterVerse had a different director for each film. Adam said that what he would do, and I am on board with this, and I kind of think that's part of what happened here with this movie, is he was more interested in the monsters. And I think so was the story. And they just sort of threw in the couple of, these two different storylines and these characters with no sort of build to them. And he just went for the monster element, which, you know, that's fine. This movie is fantastic when it comes to the monsters. But his answer was he would do a movie that was basically just the monsters, because they have gotten so good with the special effects and ability to create with these creatures, which is very evident with Kong in this movie, because Kong is just amazing. He's beautiful. The character that they've given him and the emotion is just amazing. But they've gotten to that point where we could have Monster Island, the movie, and I am here for it. I could give two craps about the people, because it's never about the humans, at least for the most part. They're there to help us along and push the story. But if you're going to use them for that, then you need to use them for that and make them interesting and give them character. Otherwise, we don't give two craps about them, and we don't, you know, they just drag it down. If you're going to have them there to help push along the story, make them interesting. Don't make them annoying, and give them a little bit of meat. This didn't do that at all. At all. It just didn't. And that's, you know, it is Godzilla versus Kong, or Kong versus Godzilla, again, depending on who you're rooting for. And it could have just edited out the people, I guess. I mean, really, it could have, and it would have been fine, because they literally added nothing. And the whole monarch thing too. There's some mention of monarch throughout, but if you remember in King of the Monsters, that was part of the reason that movie was better in terms of story and everything, just cohesively, was because it took the time to have Monarch be like another segment. Like, it built upon the characters. It built, you know, it built a reason for you to care about them, and you rooted for them, and they gave them that really cool ship that was sort of like its own monster in one way, because it evened the odds and allowed them to be in the middle of the fight. In this movie, there's nothing like that. They kind of try, but they fail in that way, in that regard. So it's not as good as King of the Monsters. It's good. It's, you know, in terms of Godzilla and Kong, but again, the story aspect of it suffers when the people are on screen, because you just don't care. So I give Godzilla versus Kong a B-. I love what they did with Kong. I loved the special effects. I loved when those two creatures were on screen. I love the relationship of Kong with the little girl and what that brings to it. There's some missed opportunities throughout this movie, just a lot of missed opportunities. And I think it was, I think it was just the story, and they were like, well, people are coming to see these monsters fight. That's what we're going to do. And where the script for King of the Monsters just allowed the people and the humans to be almost equal with these creatures in terms of what it was doing. Like, I dare you to watch King of the Monsters, and the CG was insane. It was fantastic, Aaron. But the characters are pretty much just window dressing. They did nothing to really move anything along. But in King of the Monsters, you know, I dare you to watch that movie and not feel moved with Ken Watanabe sacrificing himself and going to Godzilla. And that whole scene was just so beautiful. And just there, you know, that you cared about these characters. I couldn't tell you one single name of any of the characters in this movie. Even Skarsgård, Alexander Skarsgård, come on, I'm a woman. He's a diff guy. I couldn't tell you. I think his name, Nathan. Is it Nathan? I'm going to look because I have to look. Oh my God, I'm right. It is Nathan. So that, I guess, stuck in my head because Skarsgård. But otherwise, they're just not that interesting. And you have to work really hard to make Skarsgård boring in a film. And they just gave him nothing to really work with. But the special effects, the battles, the fights, amazing stuff. Like just gorgeous, beautiful set pieces that they created for this, especially the final fight, which they're releasing the toys for right now. They've got special edition colors for them. I bought the Kong action figure. I bought the King of the Monsters line when they came out. But they're just beautiful because they've got that neon light, purple, pink thing going on. Because 80s, that's what One Guard's about. But I would like I said, I'm giving this movie a B-, because you can tell that he was having a great time making this. He was getting to play with these creatures and these characters and create an epic battle royal for these guys, and it works and it's beautiful. Just the fight scenes are so great, and I just, again, they have gotten to the point now where they can make these monsters have as much human emotion or emotion, if you want to call it, I don't know if human comes into these, but have the emotion and have the characteristics and have a character about them, and not be just, that uncanny valley stuff. These Kong in this was about 100 times more real than Jeff Bridges in Tron 2, basically. Tron Legacy, Jeff Bridges as Evil Flynn had that weird look about him. Kong in this is more real and more expressive than he was. That's pretty amazing. And I love it. And I want Adam Wingard to have his opportunity to do his full-on monster Baganza next time around. They kind of made Godzilla bully this time around. Yeah, they kind of did, but he kind of had a reason, but you had to wait and find out why. And again, they kind of just started the movie with no pretense. You don't have any sort of why or what's going on. They do the whole, like newsreel footage thing, I think, for the credit sequence, but they could have stood taking some time and building up what's going on, giving some history of what's happening, but they don't. They just kind of just run into it. And I guess they thought the mystery would be enough. It's not. It just seemed sort of confusing. I guess that was what they were going for, maybe. But to me, this, it could have used some work on the script, and it could definitely use work on the characterization for the humans in this movie. Otherwise, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous, it's fun. You're going to have a great time if you're a kaiju fan. If you can see this on IMAX, it's going to be probably way more intense for you, of course. But don't take the risk if you don't feel comfortable, or you think that there's some safety there. I know people want to see this on IMAX. I know the theaters want you to go. I know Legendary wants you to see it in IMAX. It will be on HBO Max starting tonight at midnight, or if it has already dropped, I'd have to look, but for the next 31 days. So you can get a HBO Max subscription temporarily and see this movie and just watch it for every day for 31 days and get your fix. But again, I love the visuals. Adam Weingart is a amazing director when it comes to visual style, and he's nailed it with this. And also, I found it amusing. I interviewed him, as I said, a couple of times for this movie. One of them was for the virtual Horror Hound Weekend convention. And during that Q&A, I can't remember how we got on it, but we started talking about Thundercats. And he said something about, maybe we were talking about 80s cartoons. And I told him, I would love to see you do a Thundercats movie. I don't know where that came from. And he said that he started laughing, and he said that he had like a 200-page treatment script thing that he'd had for a long time, like for years, written for a Thundercats live action movie. That was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. We had that conversation. Lo and behold, today, Warner Brothers has announced that Adam Weingart is going to be doing a live action Thundercats movie. Were they listening? Yes, they were. I know that. Was this something that happened because of that question? In my brain, it is. God damn right it is. So we have a Thundercats movie coming, and I've been having fun in my head trying to figure out who to cast in that. So we'll see how that goes. I know he's already worked with Dan Stevens. Somebody on Twitter said Dan Stevens should be Lino. I am about it. He looks great. He's fit and he's awesome. And he's already played a kind of a cat man thing with Beauty and the Beast. So we'll see. But anyway, thank you guys for listening to my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Watch Kong versus Godzilla, or Godzilla versus Kong, depending on who you're rooting for. Again, yes, my boy. Oops. This one right there. So everything's backwards. I'm a Kong girl, if you couldn't tell. But HBO Max for the next 31 days, starting at midnight on the 31st of March. You will also be able to see it in your local theater. So please be safe. If you go to the theater, be sure to take precautions. And again, thank you guys for watching. I'm glad I had some people come in and ask questions and talk. I love that. I will be back again with another review, another news piece. Let me know what you guys want in the comments, and I will come back and talk to you about it. Hopefully have some interviews as well. Got a lot to talk about on the entertainment front. So I may do an entertainment piece here pretty soon, because there's been a lot of stuff coming out, including the fact that San Diego Comic-Con has made the decision to have their convention on Thanksgiving weekend, which isn't going too well right now for them, which is not a surprise. And we'll talk about that maybe soon. Anyway, guys, thank you again. And I hope you stay safe, spread the word, not the virus, and I will talk to you next time. Bye. Kong wins. Kong should win.